Peace, I'm KLove, and I need everybody to tune in with Media Leeks.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the one and only Miss KLove, the Super Poet, in the building. I'm your host, Jarrell Anthony, and we about to get into her wonderful, wonderful journey. Miss KLove.
What's up?
How are you?
I am super.
I just want to thank you for blessing the platform with your presence.
Thank you for requesting me.
Oh man, very excited. Like, this is crazy. Yes, real fan moments. Like, where do I start? Super Poet, writing silk. Like, it's so much. How old were you when you started doing poetry?
Started doing poetry. The first time I got up and performed a poem, I was 21.
Jesus. Okay.
Yeah, 21.
Okay. What inspires Miss KLove? Who inspires KLove?
Who or what?
Who? First, we're gonna go with who first.
I'm inspired by humans.
Okay.
Just the human experience. So many different things. I got artists that I'm inspired by, but I'm really just inspired by people. My mentees are a huge inspiration to me.
Wow.
The person I used to be is a huge inspiration to me. So I kind of just get it from everywhere.
The person I used to be is a huge inspiration. I don't think I've ever, like, this interview is gonna have some real reactions because I don't think I've ever heard that anywhere. I don't think I've heard that wisdom anywhere.
The person I used to be is a great inspiration.
Wow. I first heard of you during a summer. I was volunteering in a summer program.
Okay.
I'm 28 now.
Okay.
I think then I was, I believe, 16 at the time.
Wow, okay.
Never forgot. And when I saw you on Instagram, I literally thought to myself, I said, okay, how is it gonna be humanly possible to manifest her from there to here?
That's fun. That's always funny when people say that. I think because of my following, people think that I am more untouchable than I really am.
You are untouchable, girl. What you
But
talking
I'm
about?
out here. I be out here everywhere. I be everywhere.
Yes, you do.
And I'm friendly. Like, I don't know that my persona is that I'm not friendly, but sometimes I think people may imply that I'm unapproachable or hard to get to. But you got me.
Oh man. Do y'all hear that? Okay. Explain to the fans, what is a sip and a write?
Oh,
Write
sip
and
and
sip.
write, or write and sip, yeah. So write and sip is just one of my newest ventures, and it's really like a kickback for people who might be clever but don't really get up and do poetry or wouldn't consider themselves a poet or a rhymer, but they like to play with words. Mm-hmm. Or someone who does write but they've never shared it before, or someone who writes in different elements, not necessarily a poet, but they might be an author and they're trying to get a book going or whatever the case may be. And so I wanted to create an atmosphere that was like literally like a kickback.
Wow.
So they come, it's a wine situation, so you can buy the ticket that all you can drink wine, so you have wine all night. And then we play like a number of different word games. Some of them regular, some of them adult. It causes you to think. It causes you to, it causes you to think, and it causes you to use your mental skills. And then in between the word games, I give out word prompts or writing prompts. And so the people that are there write a couple of lines. We share what we wrote. I might do a piece or two. We go back into word games, we drink. It's literally like a kickback, but it's heavy emphasis on words and writing.
Okay. When you do a piece, it seems like, I'm gonna make some comparisons.
Okay.
the whole game for Kobe Bryant is normal until the fourth quarter, and something just takes over him.
Okay.
The game is always normal for Michael Jordan, and in the last few minutes, something takes over him. When you do a piece, what goes through your mind? What takes over you that there's just this transformation, and it's beautiful.
I don't even think I noticed a transformation, but
The
people
fans
have
do.
said that a bunch of times.
The fans notice. Oh yeah.
I think that I naturally,
Talk to him.
I think I naturally elevate my voice a little bit. I think I speak in a way that commands attention because I want to make sure that I'm heard.
I know that's right. Yeah.
And so that maybe that feels like a transformation to people. And you know, the stuff that I write is personal to me. I don't really write things that I can't feel or don't relate to. So it's very easy for me to speak with passion about the things that I write about because it's absolutely 100.
You said the things you write about are personal. Did you ever think personal would lead to inspiring so
Never
many?
in my black life. I was just, I'm teaching one of my programs at a high school right now, and today was an introductory program. I've been doing that for years, though. Today was an introductory to the program, and I was telling the young ladies that I never thought that this would be my life. You know, when I come into the classroom with them, I go through a couple of things. I tell them who I was and who I am now. And one of the things I mentioned when I say who I was, I'm like, I was a smart mouth ass little black girl. You know, and a lot of them can gravely relate. I was a smart mouth little black girl, you know, full of attitude, full of sass, full of all of that. You know, mouth so smart, people spent a lot of time trying to get me to shut it up. So the idea of people now, you know, eagerly waiting to hear the words I have to say is like
crazy.
It never gets old to me. It's still like I can't believe that they want to pay me or they admire me or they're getting healed from this thing that for a lot of years, you know, got me in trouble. So that's how God will turn, you know, a flaw into, you know, the thing that is the greatest link to your purpose. And that's something that I tell people all the time. Like your that thing that everybody's complaining about you, that thing that you do, there is power in that thing. You might be using it the wrong way, but it's still power. The power that I had to roast, as we called it when I was younger. You know,
I know y'all know what that means.
Say little quick, slick comebacks and stuff like that. The same power that I had to do that and grab the attention of the people that were standing around is the same power that I have to grab the attention in a different way. I just decided that it feels so much better to be empowering someone than to be devaluing them or degrading them in any type of way. You know, and that comes with maturity and time and different things like that.
Wow. That answer just kind of stuck me a little. Jesus. Just need a couple minutes. I need to, give me 1 second. Yeah, I need to. Thank you. Forgive me, y'all. Huh? I'm like, damn, I wasn't ready for that answer. G.
Fun.
Okay, I'm back like I never left. All right. Okay. Namesake. KLove. What does the K mean?
So the K stands for my first name, but how I even came to call myself KLove, very, very silly. I wanted it to be deep, and you know, I want to give y'all some type of deep answer, but it was really simple. I was in 8th grade on my way to school in the morning, and
Wow.
Hey Love, a remake of Hey Love, came on the radio, and I just thought it would be so cool if people had started calling me KLove, but I wasn't writing poetry at this time. I just was, just being in 8th grade, and we had like our own little cliques and everything. And I was like, okay, cool. I want y'all to call me KLove. They was like, we're not calling you that. But I thought it was so cool. But then later, during high school years, I started dating a rapper from my hometown, and because he was a rapper and I called him by his rap name, when I told him that I wanted to be called KLove, he started calling me KLove. And so it kind of stuck. And so when I performed poetry for the first time, one of my best friends signed my name on a list under KLove, and
look at that.
I've been doing it ever since. But the funny thing about that is, so I thought it was something that was just kind of like a regular thing, but what I've come to know about that is your name is an affirmation, and every time it's spoken, whatever it represents is spoken over you. And so calling myself KLove, of course people naturally reduce it to love, miss love, so on and so forth. So when you're constantly being called love, you have no choice but to become what it is that you're called. And so when I think about myself and everything that I do, and my motivation for all things is always love, always. It's my greatest gift and my biggest challenge at the same time. So I know that there was more intention behind me calling myself KLove than I thought in 8th grade.
Wow.
So.
The fact that you say you embody your name is an embodiment of what you are, love, it literally leads me right into the next question. Positivity, enthusiasm, and just positive affirmations they're your superpowers. Mm-hmm. Like, you can move Egypt with these, and people don't understand.
Thank you.
What would you let the people in on? Like,
well, I'm a passionate person. I don't do anything that I'm not passionate about. I don't even put on clothes that I'm not passionate about. So it takes me way too long to get dressed. And it's not even about something being expensive or anything like that. It's just I think that I perform to my highest magnitude when I feel a way, when what I'm doing or what I'm around or what I'm touching gives me a feel. And so if it doesn't give me a feel, then I don't do it. Mm-hmm. And so that comes out in everything that I do, whether it's literally putting on clothes or loving someone. Mm-hmm. I don't do anything that I'm not passionate about. So there's always a level of enthusiasm there. You know, there's always, and how I keep that enthusiasm high is affirmations, constantly affirming, it for what it is, constantly being vocal about what it is, because, no matter what religion you are of or way of thought that you have, you know that there's power in words.
That's right.
And intention. So affirming things give those things power and bring them to life. So I use that power.
Energy never goes away. Energy is always moving, always flowing, whether positive, negative. How did you, did you always know you were going to be creative with the energy that you had?
Well, I always, from a very young age, everybody, my parents, everybody, and myself, I always wanted to be a teacher. I've always been very, very, very passionate about children and teaching. Like, I was 11, taking all of the 6 and 7 year olds in my neighborhood to the library, teaching them what I was learning in 6th grade. I was teaching it to 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds and 7-year-olds. And I was enthusiastic about that. I was like, man, this is something that I'm twice their age and I'm able to teach them what I'm learning. Wow. And they're this young, so I knew I had a gift for teaching. Mm-hmm. Outside of that, I was combing their hair, I was giving them clothes, I was fighting bullies about them. I always felt responsible for those that were younger than me. I always knew that I wanted to teach. I did not know that I would become a poet. I didn't even know that that was a thing. I didn't know that it could be a living. I didn't know any of that. And so my whole idea was, okay, I was going to go to college and major in elementary education and teach a 2nd grade class. And, that was my plan. But as I worked in youth development, because I have like 18 years of youth development experience, as I worked in youth development, I realized I was more concerned with the emotional and social development of youth than I was with academics, because I feel like it's hard to excel in academics when your home life and those type of things are in disarray.
Wow.
And so that's what I was always passionate about. So then when I started becoming passionate about just that aspect, I kind of strayed away from wanting to be a teacher. And I ended up bringing poetry into my work environment. So wherever I was working with children, I would start implementing poetry, whether it was me performing it or teaching them how to write their own poetry. And I noticed the healing that came from that when they, would write. And so, mixing poetry and youth together created the greatest kind of life that I could have.
Wow. When the creator taps you and says, you need to be doing this, how did you, the biggest inspiration is the old you, like that transition from the old to the new.
So
what was that like?
From like 17 to 20, I was clubbing. Like, that's what me and my girls like to do. We like to go to the club. And it was funny because we weren't drinkers. We weren't smokers. We just like to be out at the party. I love to dance. Like, dancing was really like a first love for me. Like, I took like dance classes and everything. So I just loved to dance. I loved to look cute. So we were always at the club. But something happened while I was 20. I don't know. One day I remember just not having a desire to do that anymore, just at all. I think what happened was during the end of our clubbing time, I ended up joining a church at that time.
At 21?
At 20.
20.
But
20 years old?
Yeah, at 20 years old. But I had been a part of a church, when I was younger, but at 20, I ended up joining a church. And so it was so funny, we would be clubbing the night before. Hard, though. Hard, but we'd be clubbing so hard that that we didn't want to miss church the next morning. So we literally club. We was going to this huge church. So funny. We'd drive to the parking lot of the church, sleep in the car.
Wow.
I'm not even joking. Wow. And we had these, it was so funny. Me and my best friend, we had these long sweaters that came down to our ankles. And so whatever we had on, we just put the sweater over it. I'm not even joking.
Wow.
Like, seriously. And we go to church. Because after a while, we started feeling like we could not miss church.
But you didn't miss it, though.
But we was in there with God knows what on underneath it.
Wow.
So,
but you made it, though.
We made it.
Yep.
And so we was 1 foot in, 1 foot out for a while, and then I kind of was like, I don't want to do that no more. And during the time I had broke up with the guy that I was dating, and I ended up going out on a date with another guy, and he didn't even know I wrote poetry, was into it. We hadn't even had those type of conversations yet, and he took me to a poetry set. And I walked in, and I said, this was December 31st, 2002. I said,
wow.
Oh, I had never been to a poetry set. I said, I could do this for the rest of my life. And apparently I spoke that. Don't tell me that you was in 5th grade. But I was like, oh my God, I could do this for the rest of my life. And I casually said it. I didn't get up that night, but I came back that February when I turned 21, and I started doing that.
Crazy.
So it was a natural progression. And the first time I got up, and just the way I was received, I was addicted from there. It was helping me to deal with my breakup. It was like, man, I couldn't believe that many people could relate to what I was saying.
Yeah.
The name of my first poem, Lord. So the name of the first poem that I did, So remember I had said I was dating a local rapper.
Okay.
The name of the first poem I wrote was called, well, not wrote, but did, was called If I Was a Blunt. And
Whoa.
the poem was about, it was a serious poem in my opinion.
Okay.
But it was about him spending so much time smoking and not enough time with me that I wrote this poem like, dang, if I was a blunt, I'd be able to get some of your time. And so I wrote it like to address the issues in our relationship.
Wow.
And I said it to him, and he thought it was so good that he didn't even focus on the fact that I'm like, I'm finna break up with you though.
He
bro.
like, but this is.
He like, this so good, this so good. I'm like, but I'm breaking up with you though. I'm not finna deal with you no more.
Oh my God.
But yeah, and just so many people related to it, I just couldn't believe it. And so I just kept going back. And then I ended up meeting one of my mentors, and she was like, you know, it's a poetry set like every day of the week. I'm like, what? And I started doing that every day of the week. Like,
wow.
And I wasn't trying to get known. I found something that I was good at.
Wow.
And it was helping me to heal and simultaneously helping other people. And so.
Wow.
So that's how that.
Story of KLove. Does KLove have a poet that inspires her?
So many. And it's for different reasons. Right now, so we'll talk currently. Currently, my homeboy, his name is Harold Green.
Okay.
If you have not heard of Harold Green, you should definitely look him up. He's super duper
Salute
dope.
Harold Green. Okay.
We have been, I've been knowing him. Matter of fact, he started around the time that I started. He's just a couple of years younger than me, but just doing amazing things. So not only is he a great writer, he's a great businessman as well. And he is an innovator and, you know, just building so many new and amazing things. So that's definitely a poet that really, really inspires me. But
Okay.
beyond that, you know, I have a list of poets that I love for many, many different reasons. Really, the Chicago poetry scene is amazing. I've been all over the world and like top tier, for sure.
Okay.
And so they're more like, you know, when you say inspires you, they inspire me for different reasons because in a lot of ways they become family. So even if it's not the bars that inspire me, it's just the spirit, the development. Like the community. I'm married to the community for sure.
That's dope.
So.
It's crazy. We've been trying to get this interview set up a couple months. You didn't forget.
I didn't.
That's dope. The Woodlawn 1200. You frequent.
Every once in a while when they have events there, yeah.
Okay. Trying to bring the owner in.
Okay. Yeah.
Sit down. One major thing that I really paid attention to in every piece, you really push self-love. How important is self-love for this generation, for our generation? Because a lot of us don't.
Self-love is paramount, huge. It is. It's impossible, really, to do anything without that. It's impossible to do it for a very long time.
Yeah.
You can try it for a while, but eventually you're gonna need that. You're gonna need that. So I'm a very big advocate of that. My poetry is, if I had to put it in the library, I would say that it fits under the self-help category. So
Yeah.
I tend to write about just my own struggles with just dealing with life, and it's typically things that humans go through. You know what I mean? I don't necessarily just write from the perspective of being a woman or just being black, but just the perspective of just experiencing this life thing. Like this a lot.
You're so tough. Like, that's the word that comes to my mind. Strong, tough. What goes into this? Like, I know, like you said, life happens, but you have a very thick layer of skin, and it's like, how did you get this tough? Like,
I come from, it's in my bloodline. My mother's a very strong woman, like super duper strong. And like as I get older, I recognize her strength even more. I was always just a daddy's girl, but as I get older, I'm peeping this hidden strength that my mother has had and has, and it's amazing. So I know that I wouldn't be the woman that I am if it wasn't for her strength. My grandmother was a strong, stubborn kind of woman, and I know that pours into me as well. My step-grandmother is a strong woman, strong-willed, strong mind, and so I come from a lot of those. But not only that, the men in my family have been stand-up fathers. You know what I mean? Always been providers, and you know they're strong there. And we're a family-oriented family, so that helps. And then outside of that, you know, again, my community is strong, and they support me and they hold me up. And so it is a combination of things that give me the strength that I have.
I just want to say, I think it's beautiful the way you're out and about in your community.
Thank you.
Performed at the Woodline 1200. Like you, 79th. You're yeah.
I live in Chatham.
Culture is life. Like,
yeah, like I told somebody, I said, man, y'all don't even know. Like that's why it'd be so funny when people think I'm approachable. I'm not able to be reached. I'm like, I be everywhere. I be in the hood, like on the blocks, on the corners, before I was driving, I was on the L. I've been in some of the worst places at the worst time with what some people would consider the worst people, but some of the best people in my opinion. So
when I first got wind of just the fact that you or your team said yes to anything, like I'm like, I cannot not miss her. Like I cannot. It's just been such a blessing. Where can the fans find you and your poetry on social media?
They can find me on my Facebook page, KLove the Poet. If you type in KLove the Poet, you'll get my personal page and my fan page. They can find me, obviously, on Instagram at KLove the Poet. They can find me on my YouTube channel, KLove Poetry. They can find me at my website, k-lovetthepoet.com. And they can find me at a hood near you.
That's as real as it gets. I want to thank you so much for coming out, sitting down with us, telling us about you.
Thank you.
It's been huge.
Thank you.
Very inspiring.
Thank you so much for requesting me.
It's your boy Jarrell Anthony. This is Media Leaks Business with the one and only KLove. See y'all soon. Be sure to check out MediaLeeks.com. Social media, Media Leaks, host Jarrell Anthony. See y'all soon.